Hey, welcome back for round two of BCDL5. This match is between Gabe Ebady on Green White Depths and Zach Allen on Bant Stoneblade. With me this round is Eternal Weekend Champion and Death and Taxes enthusiast David Lance.
Thank you very much. So, I don't know what your opinions on this matchup is, but looking at the deck list a bit, Zach seems to have a lot of main deck answers and then also life gain. So, although that's like not a big deal, it does the green white depths by and large, since you're usually trying to create a scenario where you threaten the 2020 while using the beatdown creatures.
Yeah, Zach has a lot of answers between 4 Prismatic Ending and 4 Swords of Plowshares. He's also got the 2 Teferi Time Raveler and 2 Jace the Mind Sculptor. So for Gabe, it's pretty much make the Merit Lage at instant speed and hope he doesn't have the plow or or kind of bust.
Yeah, and then between that and the Wasteland and the Caracas hanging out in Zach's deck as well, you just have a lot of tools to deal with it. But I think this is a good opening from Gabe. You get the best one drop, but he's going to get it removed, but that's kind of the opening you want to see.
Yeah,
you have to put threats, force Zach to answer. You can let him proactively do things. You give them time, you're going to just fall behind, and they're just going to find more solutions.
Yeah, you kind of expect that the first threat or two that Gabe deploys is going to be dealt with swiftly.
So we got the Sylvan here, which I think is a good course to his victory, since the first Prismatic Ending got used, so it wasn't a plow. So you're more likely for this to sit a bit. And I'm almost certainly like snap taking 8 off this if it. Okay, well it didn't resolve.
Yeah,
so.
Zach wisely assesses the situation and forces the wills. I think he's deciding what to pitch, and he'll pitch the Ponder. I think he really values that Jace as the transition to the mid to late game here.
Yep. If we looked at Gabe's hand, it had a Sylvan Safekeeper and the land guy, Ramanap Excavator right now, so it's not looking great if Zach has some proactive elements to go forward with it.
I mean, if you're Gabe, do you consider the Excavator and try to lock him out with Wasteland? I mean, Zach obviously has some basics, but right now he's just...
Well, I'm definitely not considering that anymore.
Okay, and not with Life in the Loam.
So here we drew a Knight, which is awkward because we don't have a third mana source. All right. Yeah, we do not have the third mana source right now.
No, we don't.
So.
Yeah, I mean, as we kind of thought, Zach just kind of has the answer for everything right now, and that's the deck. It's a big stack of answers.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that Zach's approach is to put this Cauldra Stoneforge Mystic package in there, which I think handles one of like the problems of Bant, of just like not being able to close games, which is an interesting dynamic. I'm curious about the sacking of the Wasteland here. I would have assumed that we're taking a slower route and trying to get this Knight in play, but maybe Gabe has a different plan.
Oh, see, there's his way to get the third mana source.
Oh, that's I have not considered that. I've not played enough with the green-white version to see that sort of thing, but that's definitely a better play.
So good play from Gabe, and we're back to Zach.
Yeah.
And now you kind of have no reason to crack these fetches unless you need to. So it just makes Life from the Loam
that much
better. Yeah.
Yeah. But if we're like Zach's hand, he had the Jace, and it looks like he's kind of flooding. There's like 2 or 3 more lands hiding out in there.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we could see Zach start to do is dredge back Life from the Loam to find Uro.
Yes.
And Zach's got 3 Uro in his deck, so he probably hit him quickly.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. He's gone the full duels route, like the commit to the duels once you're there to not get screwed off of Wasteland for a turn or two. Because like take to Loam, although very efficient, is like bad if the game state is falling behind. because you're not creating pressure with your loams the way Lance does or something.
So Zach deploys the Jace here, and he'll brainstorm. So he just is essentially given up the Jace for the 4-mana brainstorm here.
It's not looking great right now. If you look at Zach's hand, he's got like a swords and just a pile of lands, and he's about to lose this Jace. Oh, is he? No, because
so it's not the Reclaimer's not turned on yet, but it wouldn't take much from this point to get it there. So we might see Jace survive.
I'm curious if you're supposed to. Yeah, I was gonna say this play's actually kind of cool. You just sack to the. Yeah, you get this. You go get a land and you just sack it to get 3 power.
So it looks like before damage.
Yep.
We'll
He's going to make sure that we're actually killing this Jace, which I think is very important. Like, losing out on a land doesn't seem particularly relevant here. Yep.
So he found the line to give a protection for the turn.
Yeah, you just got to give it up.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe wisely kills the
Not having any of this Jace nonsense.
And looks like Zach's going for the find arrow plan here.
Well, I think that one was mostly to get rid of the top cards because he couldn't fetch, so he's going to draw a bad card.
That's right.
So it was kind of dual purposed. He was hitting the arrow as the 3rd card would have been cool, but mostly he just didn't want to draw either of those 2 cards. Because if he draws those, he's again doing nothing.
Right.
As he has just this Cauldra and Loam swords in his hand. All those cards aren't doing much right now. Like, you're just going to make, and I guess, not cast the swords because we're just looking at a battlefield against a Safekeeper. And you can pretty safely just continually Safekeeper at this point because you have the Ramnap.
So Zach will loam again, grab 2 basics and a fetch land.
The real question was, do you think he will loam back next turn? Is hitting Uro a high enough odds compared to hitting other cards in his deck? It's probably a question of how many lands are left in his deck.
Yeah, with 3 lands or 3 arrows in the deck, I mean, it should come up pretty quickly. I would think between the fetches and how many cards you're dredging from loam, because Zach's hand looks pretty flooded here from what we can see.
So Gabe's calling the bluff on the no endurance here, which I think is pretty wild. I would definitely be more passive about this sort of thing. Personally, I'm not sure if that's correct, but he's definitely getting rewarded here.
I think he senses that the longer the game goes, the more favored Zach is.
Yeah, you could definitely, in the moment, get some desperation impressions based on the loam to flip off cards off the top, the Jace that was going into dead on board, that sort of element.
So Gabe's going to continue to be aggressive here and pretty much present lethal on board next turn.
And if I recall, I think you're sacking here. That'd be my assumption.
Yeah.
I just want to put as much pressure on there. Yeah, and he does. He sacked his dual land Savannah instead of his superior basic Savannah. It's just putting more pressure, and they're at like pretty low life totals. It's got like 8 from Zach, so he's dead next turn.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Potential draws Zach could have here. He could have Uro. He could have.
Can Gabe win through an Uro? Teferi's not good here because you just
sack, right?
Because I'm curious if we can sack aggressively and beat the 3 life. and that's going to be game. Because he's only had 5 lands, so no Kuldra.
Yeah,
Yep.
Zach sees it too. We'll scoop it up.
That's pretty shocking. Zach really just hit a glut of lands that was unexpected. I think he was pretty favored, but, the lands will get you.
Yeah.
So if we look at the sideboards, what are you thinking you're bringing in from... Well, we can start from Gabe's side.
So if I'm Gabe, I'm probably looking for,
I think the chokes are obvious. I think those are snap coming in. And then my thought would be I think in the blind, you're bringing the Teague for Terminus because your game plan is often to flood the board because your 2020 is so soft in this matchup, is my impression. And then I don't think I want anything else particularly. Like maybe the endurance is better. I don't exactly know how it maps. I usually want to shave down on Mox Diamonds in this sort of matchup. Maybe see what else we can shave down on.
Yeah. I like the Teague. Yeah, I actually had his brother's list up. I'm like, wait a minute, wrong deck here. So
No.
The chokes and the Teague are, easy brings them. What about the Torpor Orb? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Torpor Orb is not going to be good enough in enough games. Maybe it could be better on the play, but on the draw, I'm definitely not bringing it in because if they get to Stoneforge Mystic, which we didn't see in this game, so I don't know if Gabe knows that Zach is on Stoneforge Mystic at this point in time. But I know that Zach had posted his list online, so he may or may not know. Just trying to recall how this would have played out. I think I would try to sort sideboard not particularly aggressively, and I don't want to put in things that don't kill my opponent because I need alternate ways to beat them down since my 2020 is going to be really struggling to cross the finish line. And then, I don't know where you're at with that, but we could also move on to Zach's list and figure out what we want to bring in from there.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at Zach's list, I think the dress downs might be attractive.
Not sure what they would be doing.
You could take out, so you could stop any hexproof or protections.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
You could also stop Knight of the Reliquary and really shrink it down to get it into endurance.
Then you can just
range.
block it with an endurance. The problem is endurance already lines up well against it. Was my thought. I mean, I'm really high on dress down as a card in the format, so it's really be against it. But I think obviously the Wasteland's coming in, and let me make sure I remember all the text that Court of Grace, because I'm not remembering if it has a.
I was just about to ask you about that. That seems like the real spicy inclusion. I mean, talking to Zach before the event, I know he was worried that the Bant control shell didn't have enough ways to really effectively kill someone quickly. And he was worried about going to time a lot. So his way around that was the Stoneforge package and then the sideboard Court of Grace.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be the type of matchup that you need Court of Grace. So I'm in on like a very soft sideboard, the Wasteland and then potentially the 2 dress downs, depending on how many cards you want to be cutting. Not particularly high on like the 3rd Uro, I don't think, or one of the Planeswalkers, or the Negation.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Negation's not bad against all those Sylvan libraries, so. And I usually like Jitte when Safekeeper is problematic, but Safekeeper is probably not particularly problematic with you have dress downs, so you can potentially swap those out.
So Gabe's going to ship his hand back. And what do you think about Zach's hand? It looks like 3 or 4 lands, a Ponder. I think I saw an Endurance and a Jit in there.
Okay, so he did keep in Jitte. I'm like not thrilled with this hand. It's probably fine, but the lack of a cantrip. There was no cantrip, right?
There was one ponder.
Oh, there was a ponder in there? That's fine. I think like endurance is just very good against the creatures because it just lines up effectively against all of them. And then that combined with the Jite answer stuff, that sort of stuff. I think it's a fine hand. Nothing I'm writing home about. Obviously, if you were sitting with a loam in a wasteland, we're like happy, or even just a Stoneforge Mystic on the play is very, very powerful, so that you can put a lot of pressure on the game. So, make sure removal spells better.
So Gabe keeps us 6.
And it is
Urza's Saga Thespian Stage map. Looks like a Dark Depths, a Sylvan Library, and a Caracas. So a very slow.
There's no green source on this, so we need this expedition map to presumably get a green source, which is awkward. But thankfully, I don't think Zach's going to ever like prismatic ending a turn 1 map, which I expect is going to be Gabe's play unless he draws the Mox Diamond. But I wouldn't be surprised if he shaved all the Mox Diamonds in the force matchup.
Okay, so Gabe draws the Pithing Needle.
oh, that's...
And yeah, just like you said, turn 1 expedition map.
Yeah, that's definitely the sequencing I was expecting, and it does not feel good.
Ooh, and he did. And he did take it.
That is... Oh, this is... So we just get to play the Sylvan Library out now and make this prismatic ending look really rough?
Well, do you think from Zach's perspective, seeing the Thespian Stage kind of changes that plan? Like, well, he's got half of the Depths combo. If I don't have an answer, I may just die here. And Zach, looking at his hand, I mean, it's pretty weak to the combo, so...
Is it... I think just like if we're killing it with Expedition Map, Zach's going to have plenty of time to find a better plan for that point of the game. And and dealing with the map was shocking to me. It was going to look good if we didn't draw into the green source from Gabe's side, but he did, so it looks like a bait play, but it just happened to pan out that way.
And Zach, his brainstorm finds looks like a fetch land, a brainstorm, and an endurance.
A whole lot of not thrilled right now with these brainstorming going on. They're just not finding what you're looking for. That's not my impression. Like, we're not looking for more ends, but the Stoneforge is definitely nice to get. Makes it so we can't take 8 super aggressively.
Yeah, so Zach, you get the Cauldron complete, and presumably I would see Gabe play a Pithing Needle here on Stoneforge Mystic in his turn.
Yeah. I think that's just a scripted play at this point. So we play the Saga. We're going to do the play that you suggested, and none of this. We will have none of this Cauldron nonsense. What a nonsense card. Also, funny enough, the Merit Lodge does not block Cauldron.
Wow. That's not the play you want to make.
Does not go well. It's on the 7th line of text of Cauldron. Some people miss it, but it's there.
So, for people that are unaware, the text on Cauldron Complete that we're talking about is the final line, in addition to 5/5, First Strike, Trample, and Destructible Haste, is whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature, and Meryl Age is indestructible, so it would exile Meryl Age, not the play you really want unless you have to make it.
This is interesting if this crop rotation is going to do anything. I don't think we're supposed to be crop rotating here, though, from Gabe's side. I think you're pretty content to just play out your cards. But I don't really know how this saga is supposed to play into the decision tree. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like I don't want to give up the construct, but it's looking really bad into this Jitte.
yeah. It seems like if you're Gabe, you just try and jam a combo because you're probably not beating the Jit at this point.
Depends what all we brought in, and if we have if we have some number of prismatic. There's one main deck prismatic ending, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had brought in more. We're now okay. There we go. We're back. Okay, so we're playing at the 2020. We gotta make sure we get this saga up to 2. Yep.
And Gabe will pass the turn back to Zach and just kind of respond to whatever Zach's play is.
Zach's just gonna make land drops here, attack, and then we're gonna swords this.
Yeah, so Gabe goes for the combo. He thinks it's probably his best bet at that point. Just an immediate swords.
Yeah, we'll have none of that.
So we're doing math to basically put Gabe up 19 life. And 2 more.
We'll get some counters. Did we tap wrong? No, I guess we hadn't played our land drop yet.
So if you're Gabe, I mean, it looks like maybe what you could have done in this situation was keep digging with Sylvan Library and try to find something to protect from the obvious swords that Zach most likely had. Because you go for it here, you either win or you're dead. Because the Saga's going to die without making the construct. You're left with a Sylvan, and you're just so far behind at this point.
Yep, I think that Zach should be just casting an arrow here. Not an arrow, the endurance, just for clock purposes, just to end the game before Gabe can even pretend to get into this game again. And it's like a 4-turn clock because of this Jitte. Because we're gonna bring back arrow over the course of the next games. Okay, we're gonna cast the arrow first. I guess that makes sense. The clock's not actually that fast. Offering bad lines.
Zach puts in his land drop for Uro and passes the turn.
This makes sense. You don't want the saga.
So how many pithing
What are we
needles
gonna get here?
do we have here?
1.
So okay, there were no other ones to maybe hit the Jitte, and we'll go get the Bajuka Bog to clear the Uro.
Deal with the arrow. It does mean the Calder's coming down with a land drop next turn, which, judging by how Zach's been drawing, he will continue to have this land.
Yeah, Zach has had no problem making his land drops over the course of the match.
And then we're gonna Sylvan here still, see if we can find anything worthwhile.
Yeah, and Zach's only playing 22 lands, so he's
been brainstorming way more aggressive than I was expected from most pilots. So I think that's definitely what has contributed to him consistently hitting his land drops, at least in this game. As he's definitely on the hit my land drops, the game will end, because, like, how is this 2020 consistently winning the game in this matchup? It's just very hard. Yep. We take 4. Play the Caracas. This prismatic ending that he has is coming a little bit too late, though. We're going to have this problem where we're going to have both the Cauldra and this Jitte online, both of which are going to make short work of Gabe's life total.
Yeah.
Despite having 33 life, this game will end so shockingly quickly.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of outs to Cauldra for Gabe.
No. I think you just eat the Jitte next turn, and then hope to find a 2020 to beat him down in the meantime. But it's not looking particularly promising.
Yeah. Here we're going to work here. And the Jit now.
And also we have
6
12
counters.
life to gain if we would ever actually need it. So I think this game is pretty clean Zach favorite at this point. Not a lot of real paths to victory unless Zach just decides to stop attacking.
So even the line of prismatic ending on the germ token or the Jit at this point, likely isn't going to be enough. If he had a second answer to whatever he can't clean up.
Well,
Maybe.
he has another prismatic ending on the top of his deck, so we could. Oh wait, no, that was his hand.
That's right.
The top of his deck is okay. I was thinking if he had two endings, he could ending both the germ and the Stoneforge Mystic, which would demand that Zach have a creature, which could buy him time. But that does not look to be the case.
No, I think Gabe's kind of floundering here, deciding what to do, and
we will wasteland.
So he'll take out the germ token. Gabe's plan here is hopefully that the Cauldra cannot be equipped to the Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, we are in the hope Zach does not have a 7th/8th land drop in this case, which he does not.
No.
But I mean, he does have a Force and a Swords, so.
So Zach will pump, for 5.
So we have 13 damage next turn, so it's not enough unless if we draw a land, they're dead.
The 2-turn clock, and it looks like is that Choke, Plains, and is that Green Sunset? What is?
That's what I think it is.
So the third card from the library, and Gabe's hand is Flagstones, the Gaddock Teague, and a Dark Depths.
Yeah, not a lot of great options at this point, but yeah, I think we needed to find another ending that may or may not be in the deck to win this game, and then another one because there's a Force. Oh, I think we're at garbage time. The players may not know it, but I mean, I think Zach is in that boat, but Gabe's trying to flounder to figure it out, and it's just a hard game.
Yeah, if you're Gabe, do you just, for game 3 on the play, immediately mulligan anything that isn't an aggressive hand? Because that seemed to be his line to victory in game 1.
There's you need to be able to aggressively make board presence. It can be either in form of a number of creatures that can threaten, so the Reclaimers, Knight hands, or something that makes an early 2020 or an early Sylvan, just something that demands answers, because you cannot give time for I will play around things. You need to be in the I can jam strategy. At least that's my view of it.
So I assume Gabe will look at these top 3, seeing Endurance is the new card, and probably scoop them up right here. There we go, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so game 3, Gabe will be on the play.
I still don't. If I'm Gabe, I'm not bringing in the Rex Sage or anything. Yeah, the Mox.
Oh, so this is interesting to see what we've got here in the sideboard that Gabe is taking out. What do you think about taking out the Mox Diamonds?
I think you're usually supposed to take out Mox Diamonds in these sort of matchups.
Okay.
I mean, you don't usually like Mox Diamonds in the blue matchups.
I mean, presumably you'll have time to.
Yeah, you have time, and you can't put yourself down 2 cards. It's it just doesn't work, because if they don't, if you have a turn 1 land Mox, discard land Sylvan, if they just force the Sylvan, you just die every time, and that's just not the play. So you want some slower but consistency. matchup's rough, it seems. And I think the changes that Zach has made the match only rougher.
Yeah, Zach's really got a lot more firepower to beat at that life total a lot quicker than the previous iterations of this deck. So I know Zach is a Stoneforge Mystic enthusiast, so this is right up his alley.
So Gabe is bringing in the Glacial Chasm. That I'm not sure I buy that is a card that is going to help win games.
Yeah, to me it looks like your best line of success is.
Okay, he's taking it back out.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. I was really going to question how that was going to lead to victory. Turning off Jitte is not the path to victory, in my opinion.
Did we see Gabe put in the collector oofs?
I think we did.
So what do you think about that?
I think it's fine. I'm not super stoked about it. I'm not sure I would do it.
Are there enough cards to take out that makes it worth it? Because you're really just kind of defending against the Jit and the off chance that maybe you equip Cauldron Complete.
Yeah, I am. In fairness, I think Gabe is now seeing Stoneforge Mystic for the first time, so that may change how many swords he boards in and out. Because I know he had 2 boarded out, which I think makes sense against Bant typically. But against Stoneforge Mystic, you weigh more in the deck as opposed to boarded out. So I don't think I would want the Collector Roof. It's just too infrequent to matter. And a 2/2 isn't a threatening clock when there's Endurances on the other side of the table.
No, I mean, you're really just kind of in with Collector Roof to stop the degenerate artifact decks. But
oh, yeah. And my opponent's doing some nonsense, I want the oof. I also like it against taxes, just because Aether Vial is so good.
You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. Aether Vial, not good against Collector Roof.
Hey, when my elves opponents have Collector Roof as opposed to Rex Sage, that's better. I can remove Collector Roof. Turns out when you remove the Rex Sage, you don't get your Aether Vial back. It's a lot worse.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, that is how it works. I know. The deep insights, you heard it here first. But, I mean, there's a notable change in how the elves approaches the matchup.
Yeah.
They were more worried about degenerate combo, so there too are on Collector Roof as opposed to the Rex Sage. But, for instance, Gabe is on both out of his sideboard.
Yeah, the degenerate artifact decks really seem to be kind of dropping out of the format. I mean, they're just seeing them less and less. They were pretty prevalent for a while there, and between this event and the last one, and then the MTGO list, it's kind of nowhere to be seen.
So he kept in the Dryad Arbor, which I think is a card you can also take out in these sort of matchups. Now that I think about it, but hey, it's working out here.
So Zach Ponders sees a Brainstorm, Fetch Lane, and a Force of Will. That's...
You probably want this Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he keeps. Yeah, Force and a land drop. You can then decide if you want that Brainstorm later.
So Gabe draws a crop rotation, and do we go for another Green Sun here?
Yeah, we're just Green Sunning for our good friend. Oh, interesting.
He's got...
You're not going to attack?
Yeah, unless you have something specific you want to do. It doesn't...
I guess he wants to hold up the crop rotation.
Hmm.
I feel like this is a huge win for Gabe, getting the Force for this Green Sunning, especially because Gabe's sitting with another one in hand.
Yeah, this is a nice 2-for-1 for Gabe.
I'm also very shocked with the swords in hand, but so what I actually like Gabe's plan better than what I was suggesting. What he kept up is he kept the crop rotation so that he could crop out for Sajiri's Step on the Reclaimer, which I think is why Zach forced there, because he saw that sort of play pattern.
Mm. So Zach casts alone. Zach's having a little trouble making land drops here, so this makes sense. And Gabe Green Suns for 3.
We're getting the knight.
Yeah, we are in beatdown mode.
Yeah, I'm shocked he went for knight here. I thought he was going to do the same sort of plan and keep up the Sajiri step. That was not something I expected. Just like get the 1 damage in Green Sun for a Reclaimer. I think turning on my opponent's removal is not something I'm like super interested in right now, since they clearly like don't have lands in their hand, or he wouldn't have cast Loam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, loaming for 1 land is a pretty bad sign if you're Zach.
Yeah, it just like tells me that my opponent is chocked full of good cards in their hand, but not lands. So I definitely don't want to be turning on their removal, and I'm assuming we'll see the knight get.
Yeah, the endurance is likely going to make short work of the knight here. Quick, I expect Zach to make his land drop and pass the turn.
You expect that? You're willing to the knight get an activation in?
I mean, with the Teferi in hand, I could see Zach may choose to bounce the knight and draw a card.
Oh, I didn't see the Teferi. I definitely like that.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to do.
I think that's definitely the better play of the options.
So the Dryad Arbor will take out the Teferi. Gabe will fetch for a white source.
Presumably basic planes. There, found one. I thought we saw one earlier, but he wanted that one.
Yeah. I was wondering why he passed that one up. And we'll play the knight again. And get it for 1.
Well, we killed the Teferi with the...
Oh, that's right. He moved it again, so
I thought I was getting ready to rumble again.
Yeah. Relentless assault.
Interesting. I would not have wastelanded into the loam.
Yeah, seeing no other green source, I could see how that's appealing, but you got to think it's only a matter of time before he hits another one. And yeah, Zach immediately has the fetch land for another green source. Oh, and he doesn't even need it. He gets a Tundra. And goes for the Stoneforge. Are we just going to get Cauldron complete and
I assume so.
Become the beatdown? Yeah, we're the beatdown.
Okay, so we get to... Yeah, see, I would have kept if we kept up the wasteland, we get to step this, and I think that puts us in a much better place.
I like if you're going the beatdown plan. I think the Reclaimer's the better way to go than the knight. I mean,
well, once we had the knight there, we could have just not wastelanded.
Right. So, Prismatic Ending, the Stoneforge. Trap Caller complete in hand.
Get the beat down.
The Dryad Arbor this time will rumble on.
Yeah, I feel like not converting this crop rotation is going to cost Gabe this match.
Yeah, is he left with 1 card in hand?
Yeah.
Card. Yeah.
It's the crop rotation.
Real low on resources.
Because if we had protected the knight at some point, we would have... Oh, we're just going to get this Green Sun for another knight? If we had protected the knight, we could be threatening 2020 at some point. And now we're just like trying to get things on the board, and then we're trying to threaten 2020. Just feels like we're a turn behind.
And like, why not use Elvish Reclaim to do that as opposed to Knight? To be able to hold up the step. Yeah, see, this... I mean, I suppose the result would have been the same here, but...
Yeah, I agree. I think Reclaimer. It's like, it's crazy how big of a difference that sort of those little minor decisions on like which one to get and like.
Oh, you know what? So Zach playing the Endurance notably has no force in play because Gabe has a Yavimaya, so that makes the Wasteland
This Wasteland
on the Savannah look even more questionable here. I think Gabe just missed that.
Okay, and I think the game's gonna get out of hand from this point forward. You've kind of exhausted resources, and unless good friend Gabe's able to rip some more green saltiness off the top, which he's been doing like a champ, so always possible.
He's found quite a few of them, so yeah. I mean, what do you think about playing the choke into basically nothing? I mean, like if you're Zach, you're just pretty content here to.
Well, I think you just want to cast it for mana efficiency. That way, if you have something else next turn. So we're just going to get here. And also, there's been 2 prismatic endings. So it's like rather like we have 2 prismatic endings and the first Teferi used. So there's like 3 potential answers to it left. Not that like Gabe has the exact numbers on these things, but I don't think it's unreasonable.
Yeah, and Zach here just no regard for the choke. It doesn't matter to him between the Yavamayas in play and yeah, we're sorting something out here.
We're just making sure we hadn't hit an extra land drop on accident.
Yeah.
So we drew this Pithy Needle. I think we're supposed to name the Teferi, just to cut off more answers to the choke.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe's thinking about fetch lands, and I think you were supposed to name a Planeswalker here. Gabe's probably just clarifying to make sure he knows all of his options, but
yeah, I don't think cutting off fetch lands here is really a real path to victory.
me neither.
Zach with the beautiful expedition foils.
It's a very Zach classic. Not my preferred foils, but they are quite pretty. And I'm curious what we named here.
Yeah, I have no clue, but I gotta think it's honestly probably pretty irrelevant at this point.
I think we will know if it matters.
Yeah.
If the Jace or the Teferi shows up, Zach will cast it if it is not named, and will not cast it if it is named.
We know if it is named. So Zach will get back the dredge.
Do we have enough lands to be able to do this?
Yeah, so Zach's sources with all of these fetch lands are a Savannah, 1 forest, 2 islands, 1 plains, 2 trops, 2 tundras.
Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, we have enough with all the fetch lands. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Zach's about out of sources, but he could also use the fetch lands as forests.
Oh yeah, the fetch lands work
as well.
Yep. Yeah, he'll get up there. I was worried that between having these 2 locked down to choke already, that casting Culture was going to be off the table. But Yavimaya opens up that option. So curious if Gabe was supposed to sack the Yavimaya because of that.
I mean, you could, in theory, bait Zach into tapping and Zach to do that, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case here. So
Gabe's trying to figure out what he's supposed to be crop rotating for.
Yeah, I feel like he's doing something to have something to do because he knows the window's going to close soon. So he's considering the Bajuka Bog.
Yep.
And I think are we figuring out a timing issue there? Okay, so
No, he's just doing some clarification.
okay.
So he's presumably making this a basic plains. That's my assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was supposed to make it into a forest so he
Forest
can potentially...
to stack the Yavimaya.
But lots of options. I feel like this is still in a not great place.
We see the Jace bin there.
No. Poor Jace, not getting to see the light of day.
So I have to imagine Zach's going for a blue source.
He's just getting lands.
He goes and gets the snow covered, yeah.
Got the plains.
Snow covered plains.
So we will have the Cauldron online next turn.
Okay, the excavator.
Okay, okay.
Not bad plan.
We're doing stuff. We're not doing a lot of stuff. Oh no. We hit the Jace.
The other Jace.
But
it doesn't
Cauldron's
matter.
gonna come down. This is only gonna lock down two more lands, so he'll have lands accessible. We remove the germ.
Okay, so we'll ending on the germ. And Zach's down to no blue sources and 2 white sources.
Cool play we can do is we can copy the Yavimaya with our stage to sack the Yavimaya, copy something else with stage to get rid of the Yavimaya effect again later.
Mm-hmm.
So if we were worried about this, which I think is something we should be doing, we should give ourselves the opportunity to do that this turn. So at the end step, we should be copying it to sack the Yavimaya. Or else we're going to get this Cauldron equipped again. I guess not if we're casting Jace. Oh, we're casting Ponder.
So Zach casts Ponder. I'm looking at... Oh, and there's a prismatic ending. I assume that's what Zach's been digging towards. And we can loan back to... Zach's only got 6 blue sources in his deck and 5 are locked down, so he'll take care of the... I expect him to take care of the choke here momentarily. Right,
yeah, game looks... I think the out is for Gabe to draw the other choke.
Yeah, the choke here would be huge, and he draws Sylvan Library off the top. So
that is not choke.
Yeah, that is very much not choke.
It is a green enchantment, but not the green enchantment we were looking for. Okay, so we converted that into a fetch land to replay it. That makes sense. That's a cool play too.
Mm-hmm.
We got some stage shenanigans. Sadly, the stage shenanigans are not going to get us across the finish line.
I mean, if you're Gabe, are you just hoping Merit Lage or bust at this point, and just hope Zach doesn't know the answer?
I mean, I think that has to be the answer. Awkwardly, we have this this endurance which blocks it for a turn to enable the Jace and the swords. Yeah.
Yeah, Zach off the top with the swords. And we'll see the Cauldron equip here. Yeah. And we're gonna
copy a blue source.
So library shows us Teague's step and a
The Dark Depths.
I think we need to take this turn to
I think
The
the worst
prismatic
case
ending,
scenario is
I don't know. It's quite rough.
if you're Gabe, do you just make the combo?
Well, there's a
Assuming you get
Caracas.
20 life. Is there a Caracas on Zach's side?
Yeah, in the pile of 3 is the middle card, right? It looks like a Caracas.
I
to
thought
me.
that was a
Could be
Savannah.
Oh, it's a Savannah. I'm trying to see this a little bit small for me.
Yeah, because if
Yeah, it's
you,
definitely a Savannah. Been fetched for. I thought we had a Caracas sneak in there when I wasn't paying attention.
because worst case scenario here, you go for the combo, right? Yeah,
Well, we can't do both. I think this
Right.
is the play. We demand a
yeah,
creature.
you kind of have to. Okay, fatigue. We'll get in for 3.
Okay, well, you can't cast Jace without casting the swords. So that's something.
Oh, we're crossing our fingers. Oh, Zach's found Arrow.
And he found Wasteland. Yeah, a whole
And
lot
Zach's
of
just
that
going
good.
for Arrow right now. And next turn, has he played his land for turn? No, if he's got a land, he can
Play
equip.
this Wasteland.
Well,
Oh, we can equip it for
Yeah.
lethal? Oh, it's just lethal.
There we go. There's
Here we-
enough to equip.
Earl, well-known speedy friend. Attack for 11? You're dead?
he's doing the math and he's realizing it. So, yeah, Zach.
Well, that's kind of how I expected the games to go. But interesting, I wasn't expecting Cauldron to get equipped to an Uro.
Yeah, if you fade that Uro, you're in a great spot. But yeah, Zach has churned through so much of his deck. It was bound to happen.
It was only a matter of time.
So Zach takes this match, and thanks to David for joining me this round. And we'll see him again shortly.
Have fun in round 3.